Ciao, welcome to Florence. My name is Elisabetta Marchi. I'm a professional tour guide that has been working with New York University for a number of years now. You can find me at www.tuscanytrotter.com. I'm standing just on Ponte Vega, which is the most iconic bridge of Florence. This bridge is also quite famous because it's full of jewelry stores, even if in the past it was home to butchers and fishmongers. So you can imagine the smell was not very nice. And when the Vasari corridor, a walkway that allowed the Medici family to go from the town hall that became their residence in the 16th century to the new house named Palazzo Uffizi, of course, they didn't like the smell. They were totally disgusted, and they forced all these butchers, all these workers to move. So since 1593, artisans, gold artisans or silver artisans have replaced the smelly business. Now we're heading to the Uffizi, the most visited museum in Florence and one of the most important painting collections in the world. Now at the Uffizi, and right next to me you have Dante Alighieri, and he wrote the most important poem, one of the earliest works in Italian, vernacular Italian, so it's the beginning of a written form of our language. So he's considered the father of Italian, written Italian language as well. And there are other sculptures around here representing important personalities from the Italian history, literature, science, even music, because the monk that invented modern music notes, like we know, the 5 lines, is over there, and his name is Guido d'Arezzo, or Guido the monk. So the Uffizi name comes from the old Italian word for offices. We would rather say Uffizi today. And it was built right on top of very humble houses, all demolished, in 20 years, which is quite an accomplishment considering that for the construction of the cathedral, you can still see today, it took more than 165 years. So we're now on Palazzo De La Sieria. The word comes from Signore, Italian for Lord. Lords of Florence were housed here when they had their term. So this means that they were sort of prisoner 2 months for their term and avoiding episodes of corruption, hopefully. So the current Palazzo della Signoria, or Town Hall of Florence, is also where the office of the mayor is located, and a fantastic museum as well, was built at the end of the 13th century, beginning of the 14th century. And since then, it's been home to the government. Behind me, you can see David. And I guess a lot of people would think he's the original. I'm sorry to say he's not. The original Michelangelo's David is now at the museum named Accademia delle Belle Arti, but the original David was here from 1504 to 1873, when a decision was made to try and preserve it and place it into a safer location. So maybe it's interesting to know that David was not meant to be here. If you take a look at his hands and his feet and his head, they're way bigger than it should be. They're sort of over proportion because he was meant to be part of the decoration of the cathedral. So his position would have been something like 35 meters above the floor, above the ground. And the artist never corrected the proportions when the government decided to confiscate it from the church and locate it in front of the main entrance of the town hall. a symbol of political freedom that Florence was enjoying in those years. This is Piazza della Repubblica, even if the name of this square has changed so many times. So just try to imagine this was the Roman Forum back 59 BC, the time of Julius Caesar. I think Julius Caesar married his third wife in that year. And the name given to the first Roman settlement established in this area was Florencia. So that's where the other names in different languages will originate from. So we're right close to the Duomo. The Cathedral of Florence is one of the largest in the world, and quite impressive with its dome. It took forever to build it. So we're talking about 165 years. And it project culminated with the very complicated construction of the dome by Filippo Brunelleschi. The dome is also the biggest element in the skyline of Florence, where we're talking about the historic center. And Filippo was able to accomplish this project in only 20 years. So it looks like Taj Mahal in a way, because it's sandstone inside and it's faced with different colors of marble. You might have noticed that right in front of the Cathedral of Florence we have the Baptistry. That's actually the oldest building, one of the oldest visible today in Florence. It should date back from the 11th century, but we're not sure about what was there before. And that church, because it can be used as a church, even if it was meant to baptize people, and then they were allowed into a proper cathedral. And that is one of the most beautiful churches in Florence, because it's completely decorated with mosaics. Thank you for joining me on this virtual tour, and I hope to see you in person and give you a lot more details and also discover some hidden gems of Florence off the beaten path.